Hi, guys. Before I even waste anybody's time, can we be seen and heard? Is that a thing? We are cooking
I,
with grease. Hey, let's
Woo.
rock and roll, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Symphony. Symphony Entertainment, Gaming, and Arts is my gaming company that focuses on horror systems, indie games, organic content, and player agency in an attempt to bring a symphonic approach to horror role playing. I am your host, Bridgett Jeffries, and this afternoon and for the entirety of June, I am wishing you a very, very, very happy Pride. To celebrate the gloriousness that is queerness, Symphony is rolling out a month of Pride themed sonatas run by queer conductors, or AKA GM. So, same Symphony sonata, 60 minutes of improvised horror, but we're going to be splashing it with a dash of gay. It's probably going to be a lot more than just a dash. We're pretty obnoxious over here about our queerness over at the Symphony. So we have conductors Perry, who is launching us off straight out of the gate here on June 1st. You are going to have me, you're going to have Rena, you're going to have Jason, and we're even having Richard Ruan on, the creator of Moonlight on Roseville Beach, who is going to be running his very first sonata on stream here. So thank you for the support. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for seeing us. We see you. Happy Pride. Now, into the business logistics of kind of what we're working with here. This is a symphony sonata, 60 minutes of fully improvised horror. Due to the fully improvised nature of this content, I can't forward face any content or any content warnings. I have no idea where Perry's story is going to go. He's going to be collecting suggestions and feedback and inspiration from the chat. The cast has covered what our red lines are and the places that we refuse to go, and Perry and the cast is going to help each other honor all of that. With that being said, we do have 2 sets of safety tools. You guys already know if you've never been here before, but if this is your first time stopping by, we will have the X card. X's can be thrown visibly right here where everyone can see it, or it can be thrown into the Zoom chat. We also use the red, yellow, green traffic light method. If a safety tool is enacted at any time, no questions are asked, no judgment is passed. Final announcement, guys. You already know what it is. Symphony does have a Patreon. So if you like this content, you would like to help us and support us and enable us to make more content like this, please consider backing us on Patreon at patreon.com/Symphony Entertainment. Now, let's get to the good stuff so we can get to the really good stuff. Cast, please introduce yourselves. Tell us who you are, what you do, where people can find you, and we are going to start this bad boy off with Doc.
Hi, everybody. Happy Pride. I'm Doc, he, him. I am a chemistry professor by day, but every other chance I get, I like to pop in on these things, hang out in the Symphony Discords, and a variety of other Discords. I also write stuff, so if you want to pick up stuff that I've written, the link will be going in the chat. Oh, damn it. That did the wrong button. There we go. The link is in the chat now. There we go. Running 2 screens. You guys going to screw that up eventually. Yeah. Happy to be here. Happy Pride, everybody.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Doc. And freaking Matt Armitage, welcome to the Symphony. Guys, this
Hello.
is Matt's very first time streaming and the first time here. Welcome. Baby, tell us who you are, where people can find you, and then anything else you would like to share.
Ooh, I'm Matt Armitage, he, him. I'm a kinky poly nerd. I've been watching Symphony for a while from the hotel chair in the corner. I wanted to get a chance to come and actually participate. Bridgett offered me the opportunity to do so. I've been a DM, a storyteller, a world builder for a very long time. I've been playing games since I was 13, 14, 15 years old. I'm almost in my 40s now. So we're getting there. We're doing stuff. But I don't currently have any social media to pimp or anything like that. So I'm just here to have a good time with people and support Symphony, which has been a lot of fun.
Matt, for every single like, for every single share, for every engagement on the Discord, for every single time you've jumped in chat and supported us, fucking thank you. And welcome to the Symphony, babe. Perry, Leather Daddy, it's on you, baby. Take us home.
Yeah, well, we're starting off this Pride, and I'm Perry Clark. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in the San Francisco Bay, so definitely one of our Pride Central locations. I also run my own podcast, which is called Untying Knots, Minds and Souls Untethered, which I talk about mental health, but also intersection of a number of various other topics, including queer ones. I'm also over not only with Symphony as one of its cast of rotating players, but I'm also over at the Old Ways podcast, now in the Silver Screams, which is starting which Preludes have just recently started, and the series just started in full, starting in July, playing Kingston Biko Garvey. Additionally, and as we spoke about the Rose Night Moonlight on Roswell Beach, Bridgett and I also did a series for that called Never Let Us Go, or Never Let Me Go. So you should also check that out in the YouTubes. So for tonight and our symphony and sonata, normally we take suggestions from the chat. Not this time. We're going to do something slightly different.
Ooh.
For tonight's game, we're going to be, I'm still going to need the chat's help, but slightly different. So instead of taking random suggestions from them, I'm doing that using a tarot deck. But not just one tarot deck, 2 tarot decks.
Oh my.
So the question I will be posting to the chat periodically is, which deck should I pull the card from? Now, first deck I have, which is your classic tarot deck, which is my steampunk deck. That's the one that's going to start our story.
Okay.
But for our creepiness and for our horror, we're going to the Necronomicon deck.
Oh my.
So, which of these decks do I pull from? And based off of what's in the card, on its image, or even what I can remember of its meaning, will determine what is the element I'm going to throw into the game.
Oh god, this is a delight. Okay, so Bucha is already in going steampunk versus Necronomicon deck. Let's go. Okay, guys, where are we starting? Which deck?
So what I will tell you now, the setting that is going to be involved in this game is a concert. So, and in the process, we'll start meeting our characters, because I've already given prompts information from the decks to each of the players. So let's set the scene.
Okay.
What I will ask first and foremost is, what is the name of the artist that you guys are going to go see? You're going as a group to see this artist's performance. This is the only concert for this album. Instead of multiple concerts, they're only doing one concert.
Oh shit. Perry, point and clarification. Is this modern day or are we choosing the era?
Oh, modern day.
Okay. Does it have to be a real artist or can it be one that we create?
You can create or make a real artist.
Okay. Those are my questions of contribution. Matt, Doc, what y'all got? Anybody you want to see in particular or you want to make one up?
Man, I do not follow music enough to have an opinion on this.
Make one up could be fun. Let's make one up together.
Okay, so we'll quickly make one up.
Because I say, my contribution, I'm envisioning the concert being an outdoor kind of deal.
Okay.
You've got the lower bowl for the expensive seats, and then a massive crowd out in the.
So we're
lawn
thinking like a
seats.
big concert, like a big. Okay.
Oh yes,
Okay.
stadium level.
Big concert. I'm thinking like
Stadium
real
concert.
hyperspeed, like Star Lake near Pittsburgh or stuff like that.
Ooh, I like that idea. You could have water in the background. This is an exclusive event, so tickets were probably obnoxiously high. And this is only a single performance.
For
Guys,
this album.
this album is it.
Worldwide. And it is being televised.
Oh, guys, there are so many different options that I want to go. So in Columbus, especially during the summer, they have this combination where they bring in a hip hop artist to complement like the local symphony orchestra. And it's a whole vibe type of situation. I'm almost leaning towards that, mostly just because it's super familiar to me, because I've been to several of those concerts on the patio where they're like these big, massive concerts. Yeah. We good with that?
Ghostface Philharmonic.
Ghostface. Okay.
Ghostface Philharmonic.
Amazing.
Done.
All righty. So now let's introduce our characters. You're going as a group.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and start with, in our entry order, starting with Doc.
Okay.
All right. I'll be playing a character by the name of Jackie today. He is an interesting fellow because at the first glance, he looks almost too corporate to exist in a festival like this, a situation like this. He's wearing a white button-down shirt with a vest over it. He's got long mutton chops. But at the same time, underneath all of that crunchy exterior, deep down, he really believes in the connection of music and nature. And how those things can really help somebody through something.
All right.
That's actually really good.
For you, Matt?
I am a gentleman by the name of Jacob Wright. He, him. Jacob is a mechanic by trade. He comes from a family that's always been about cars. Car meets swaps, mechanic kind of industry. That's always been what he's about. Um, it may or may not be his passion really, but he's good at it. He's good with his hands. No matter how well he cleans up, he always has the telltale signs, a little bit of like oil under the finger, a little bit of grease. Hands are rough from handling mechanics and tools and things like that. But he does clean up quite nice. He's a bit there's a bit of a feminine curve to like his jawline. He's not traditionally masculine in like build or broadness or anything. He's a bit slim, but he's wearing like a shirt, probably from the event. He always likes to dress to the place that he's going. So he like bought a merch shirt on the website before he got here. So he's got the ghost face X harmonica. I imagine there's like an actual picture of like the Ghostface killer, and then there's also like a violin or something on there somewhere. I don't know. Maybe him holding a violin. I don't know. But he's here again, dressed very nicely to the event. Jeans are very clean, nice pair of comfortable shoes for walking around in. He's very excited anytime he gets a chance to step away from the car world and do something else. He always gets very excited whenever a concert comes into town.
And for you, Bridgett?
Really great descriptive work, by the way, on that, Matt. Really fast. Doc, give me your character's name again. Sorry.
It was Jackie.
Jackie?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we got Jackie, Jacob. I feel like I need to stay with the J's.
Unintentional.
Unintentional. So I'm going to go Johnston. I'm going to go Johnston Stewart with a T. He, him as well. Based on the tarot cards that I was given in our player room, the vibe that I'm getting from Johnston right now is by far probably top 4 or 5% of wealth that's in this entire stadium, this entire area. Johnston is probably either one of the chief investors of this venue or potentially one of the chief investors of the Ghostface orchestra publicity line, or is like head of marketing, something along those lines. He walks around with an exorbitant amount of wealth and influence and power, but he always downplays it where you can't necessarily see it unless you know what you're looking for. And if the three of us came together, you guys probably know this well about Johnston, but this is a black male that has the sides of his head shaved with very clean locks that are tied back into a ponytail. Very tall, lean, athletic build. Johnston, I am going to be wearing skinny jeans and black and white Converse, but I'm also wearing a similar shirt that Jacob is wearing. So probably something a little bit more ethereal. So maybe not like Ghostface Killer's face, but something that just has like a musical line where if you can read the music, you can, piece out a lyric, or you can piece out something where you have to look at the shirt and actually study it to know it. And this is all going to be in the inside of a very sharply cut, probably designer and custom fit black jacket.
All right. So, Ghostface, the Philharmonic, announced this one concert, for its new album, which has already been blowing up the charts for Pride season, and it was in support of all of the Pride energy that is so needed in the world right now. But of course, even though, Johnson, you have been so involved in all of this, you can get tickets. But Jackie was. How is the feeling going on between the two of you as, despite all your connections, beside all your wealth, Jackie was able to get it versus you?
I think there's a corporate level of confusion and an arrogance that just goes with, I'm immediately going to dismiss this as a clerical error, and I will deal with whomever dropped this ball on the back end of it. The priority is to get this show off successfully, which it will be. And then I will work out the insane, unreasonable logistics that somehow Jackie was able to get tickets, but not me. That doesn't even make any sense. I don't even need tickets. I'm on the back of the brochure. What are we talking about right now? So I think it's one of those things, like, if there's a real reason for it, I refuse to admit or acknowledge that there is.
All righty. And Jackie, the tickets you were able to get, did you get the nosebleed, the mezzanine, the floor seats, or the private box?
Oh.
Ooh, I would say I had the option to get floor seats, but I elected to go for the farther back, like in the lawn seat area, owing to
Mm.
because the power of music isn't. It shouldn't be relegated by financial status. It should be the music is for the people, and so therefore I want to be with those people sharing that rather than with the fancy people down in the private boxes. That it's about the song and what it can do for you.
And how do you think Johnson is feeling about the fact that you're there versus in the fancy luxury sites, let alone backstage tickets, which normally Johnson could have gotten for you guys?
Johnson worries too much about status and all this. It has to be the best of the best, and when I go to work, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But for something like this, the experience is what matters. And if Johnson's going to be upset that we're farther back and maybe he has to watch it on the screens a little bit, that's fine. He can be mad about it because the music is really what's going to heal all of us.
Jacob, what was it like for you to not only see this concert, but go with these two?
I imagine that Jacob probably knows Johnston because I did work on a car of his.
Mm.
Uh, Probably like a custom model or something that you wanted an expert's hands on. So you took it to my father's shop. My dad owns the shop. Again, familial line of people working with cars. You met him at a trade show or something. Who knows? Something you were sponsoring. Um, so I was already surprised to have made a friend in somebody like Johnston. So to be here with them when I'm not used to finer things or finity at all is wild. But it wasn't Johnson who got us the tickets. It was Jackie. And Jackie, I've known in town for years now. We were probably friends, I would imagine, in high school, and we stayed
Mm.
in touch through the Facebooks. Never particularly close, but friends, right? The kind you would check in on every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were looking for people to throw in on tickets, I could not imagine not doing it. Any chance to step away from the shop, even though my father's not a big fan of taking time off, the hard work ethic of the older generation. Um, I had to. There was no way I was not going to be here as soon as the opportunity presented itself.
Valid.
Excellent. And you guys are streaming in. There isn't actually an opening band, but there is a DJ that is performing for this. And you can just see the hype, the t-shirts. Everybody is in this sort of gothic horror theme that went on with this album. The album is named The Hanged Man.
Oof.
That's good.
Oof.
As you do,
That's good.
That's good.
and as you do, as you're moving into your seats, you can see how this place is set up, and you can see spread across the space is these what almost look like. I mean, they're definitely industrial. They're definitely designed for that sort of hard, angular shape. They almost look like torches, and you count there's 9 torches around across the stadium area, and you just know that this is for that pinnacle song of theirs called the Torches of Nye.
Holy shit.
So you're just waiting for that to kick off. Sorry, just laughing at something I saw in the chat. But you can just hear the beats are just dropping constantly from this DJ, and you can see them up on the screen. And this is being simulcast worldwide. What's the song that the DJ is presently remixing to? That can be a
Ooh.
popular one.
Hand of Doom by Black Sabbath.
Ah,
But with
Hand of
the
Doom.
orchestra weaving its way through that really ethereal sound.
Damn.
Yep, you can see them, a woman who is just going back and forth across the decks on the screen as she's dropping those beats, getting it into there, tuning it in, and she's wearing a onesie, a llama-shaped onesie.
Damn it, Hedge.
Absolutely.
I saw it coming, but I still.
I don't know what this is about, but I'm here for it.
Yep,
We'll send you
and that's the
link
way to
later,
go.
buddy.
That's the way to go in the symphony. Fucking hedge.
As they're rocking up and so forth, and you can see the crowd and the mass it's getting as the dawn is starting to get darker and so forth. As you're there, sitting there, and at which point, eventually the DJ finishes and sort of steps back, and at which point the stage goes dark. You can just see this sort of haze that's foaming across it. The orchestra has just stepped in, is in this sort of twilight gloom in the background with just a faint of this sort of almost underwaterish teal effect that's going on. And they've all donned these grotesque masks.
Oh God.
As this figure just sort of wafts out of the fog up to the mic, and it's the lead singer of Ghostface. Are you ready to rock? As the
Massive
crowd goes
cheering.
wild. As the crowd goes wild. Are you ready to have the heavens hear our song and our soul and let the world tremble at our power and our pride?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Alrighty. And at which point you hear the beginning, the sound of the first piece of music, the first string, which isn't a violin, but a viola.
Oh, here we go. Yep.
That balancing point just between the high notes of the violin and those just depths of the cello. And it just passes through you. Now, I'm going to ask the chat, which deck do I pull from?
Oh, shit.
Oh, this is going to be terrible. What are our options? One more time for people who may have joined
So,
late. It was
we're
the
pulling-
Necronomicon or the...
Steampunk or the
Steampunk.
Necronomicon? Okay, I'm seeing the Steampunk.
It's a lot of steampunk coming strong.
Yeah. So this is the opening chords of the Knight of Souls.
Okay.
And this massive holographic figure of a knight bearing a sword appears just out of the mist
Oh,
that
God.
is surrounding this audience and across the simulcast. What is it inspiring inside of each of you?
So what's inspiring?
Yes, what is it calling up, invoking in each of you?
I think in Jacob, seeing this towering knight figure probably reminds him of his father. Strong, steel, iron, metal, the car, the family business. There's probably a degree of like patriarchy tied up in the thing that he's looking at when he's just thinking about his father. And it's not a great feeling. It's intimidating. It's a little scary. And Jacob would probably like feel himself receding a little bit at that.
Jackie definitely feels a bravery in him. Because he thinks back to a moment a couple of years back when he was introducing his partner to his parents, and he was afraid to do it because they didn't know who he was. They weren't ready to accept who he was. But he remembers that his partner, Chase, put his hand on Jackie's shoulder and said, "We got this." And that day, Chase became that knight in shining armor to finally admit who he was. So he's kind of feel that bravery in him of a really scary moment that somebody else helped him through, like a big night.
Johnston is feeling a sense of almost feeling grounded in this moment. Through the duration of this concert so far, we're not in the box where it's not where I belong, but it's definitely that I have access to. I have those resources to get us to a different experience. But now comparing them, this would have been a much more sterile experience. So something about being in the back and actually feeling that palpable charge that's radiating around the fans, hearing that passion, hearing that pride, that celebration of pride. I think seeing that night with the beginning of this song, I'm feeling very grounded and I'm feeling very connected. There's a connective tissue there that is speaking to the imbalance that I'm constantly navigating as a Black male, as a queer male, especially in the income bracket that I have worked very hard to get myself access to. So there's one of those moments that this Black knight is appearing and I am finally getting almost like that moment of connectivity or balance where I actually feel like I belong.
So that's the first thing. For you, it's a black night. But for the other two, it's a white night. just that particular moment, but it's like, and you hear somebody beside you say, why is the night red? It's like, it's this beautiful red night. And it's like, red night, black night, white night. Oh, it's a lovely shade of lavender. It's like, the others are just seeing a variety of different colors appearing across this night's sheen as it cycles, as far as you know, across the pride colors.
Okay, that's dope illusion and light work. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
I remember the confusion over what color is this dress.
right. That was the whole thing. That lasted for like years.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to.
Jackie just stands vibing with the sound.
So I'm going to
Not even
call
paying attention to
over.
the colors.
What colors do you guys see? Let's see what
It
color
looks-
dress it is for them.
Looks white.
Definitely white.
All right. And before you know it, they've moved out of that song into the next one. Chat, which deck do I pull next?
Oh God.
Not me to run to the chat to add to that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to run there too and help. We had the same thought.
Okay,
Oh,
the next
chat
one.
is coming strong with the Necro deck. Okay.
This one is the journey of life. And at which point you begin to see this night shift into a in that sort of classic Indiana Jones, tracing the map around the world as they travel.
Yeah.
And begin to see this night in various scenes traveling across the world, traveling across history almost. But what about your histories? Does this bring some unsettlement to? What memory?
Oh, borrowing from the original kind of concept, just the patriarch of the family, the thing. The travel that Jacob has gone is rough. Several failed relationships, never quite making it out of town.
Mm-hmm.
He watches this thing travel and traverse and make its way through, and he's like, where have I gone? What have I done? What journey have I taken? I'm scared to look at this thing in a way. I'm not afraid, but maybe I am. I don't have time for that. The music's great. The music's great. I just got to be here in the music. And he pushes that down.
I think the journey for Jackie's more of finding who he wants to be in life.
Mm.
Because externally he looks like your stereotypical hipster. He's got the waistcoat on, he's got the cuffed white shirt on, the tight jeans. And he knows that he landed there less out of choice but out of where he ends up working.
Mm.
But he knows that deep down eventually this granola hippie inside of him is going to come out and just connect music and nature, and he's probably going to go live in the woods eventually. And he keeps thinking to himself, someday I'm just going to leave society behind and just become the bog hag that I was meant to be. But he's not there yet, and for him it's the optimism, and it's unsettling knowing that he may never get there. He knows that he's chained himself to a certain type of lifestyle that may not be amenable to just packing up and leaving.
All right. What
Perry,
about
this is
for-
a tee-up question
Doc?
for you.
Mhm.
How much can I mess with this moment? Do I have like
Go right ahead.
free range for it?
Full range.
So I think initially I'm just engaging with, this journey on the map. The music is great. Everything is vibing. It's a great day. And then I realize that map has a travel itinerary that is a little too exact. I'm watching certain points from San Francisco to Denver that's then hopping over to New York City. And right around that point, as the beacon is getting ready to move, I was like, there's no way that's going to, it went to Atlanta. And then it jumped over to London. And I'm watching a very particular travel pattern that I have gone on, a travel itinerary where I made a series of very intentional decisions that hurt others, but helped progress me to where I am now. And I'm watching that ping in real time. And I think the first thing I feel is panic. Do they know? Is that why I wasn't able to get tickets? Are they aware? And then my eyes start sweeping. It's like, is law enforcement near? Do they have a location on my 20? What's going on? Maybe this is a coincidence. So like, it's one of those things where I think I go from vibing to like watching in horror as this beacon moves across the globe.
Chat.
Oh God. Oh God. Chat.
You know it's terrifying when Perry just draws it. Just chat.
Chat.
You're up.
I see one for Necro. Y'all staying with the Necronomicon, or are we going to the damn steampunk?
Man,
We've
I'm
got
gonna
the
vote
Necronomicon.
Necronomicon all time.
You said at all times. When in doubt,
I'm just-
Necronomicon. I'll
Show
double
it to
down
you.
on Necro.
As this thought about the choices you've made, that's when you realize the song has shifted again
Oh God.
into the two roads. The road that might have been, the road that is, and the cost between them. You feel that in your heart. You feel that fear, that anger, that terror about what it means and how far you will fall if the truth comes. How do they know you? How do they know what you've done? The others are next to you as well. But did they just turn and look at you with accusing eyes? Or was that just a momentary effect of the lights? Was it that also that woman 2 rows ahead of you, behind you, all turning to look at you with accusing eyes? As the lights dance in this, as the twilight is slipping away into darkness, and that blue, that little wave that goes from blue, the sun, not the sun, the sky goes to that dark blue and that purple, almost like a bruise above you. And when the stars and the moon have not come yet, I'll leave you there for a moment. Matt, the Two Roads song has entered, and you know your history, your time, and the choices you've made. What comes to mind for you with this song?
There's a very clear. There are two roads in Jacob. Very clearly, his mother passed when he was quite young, and it's shaped his relationship with femininity. Jacob has a secret. It's one he doesn't let people in on. It's partially why he stayed as close to Jackie as he did throughout the years. Jacob, when no one's watching, will sometimes perform. He'll go to clubs or shows of a particular nature. Jacob has a pseudonym, a Jacqueline, Jacqueline Starr, performer, drag queen. It's his secret. It's the road he wants to be on. Maybe he doesn't know. It's a part of his life he's kept suppressed because how could he? His father wouldn't accept such a thing. How would he provide for it? It's better to just soldier on. So the two roads, I think he's still very caught up in the emotion of his world and his secrets and his guilt.
And there's a moment as you're listening to all of that and you're thinking about that, and you're thinking about how would you lip sync to this song? That you're just noticing that now the stars are out, but it almost looks like there's stars floating in the air around you. across the stadium, like a field of fireflies, but they're a little larger than normal fireflies. They look like they're drones, and you can just feel this mist that's just sort of being cast throughout the entire stadium that is just wafting over everybody. Just this light misting, like it's in us as it is the summer, just to cool you. Jackie, two roads are playing for you as you're hearing that. You're dancing, you're bumping, you thinking about those woods, but you're thinking that last time you were at that particular club. That particular club that has a special entrance and is filled with red lights, wood, leather, and metal studs. And you remember that choice that was for you. Do you accept that safe word? Do you deny it because no one can tell you no?
And thinking back to that, Jackie remembers that he probably should have said the safe word because he didn't feel safe in that moment. He knew that a boundary was being crossed. He was going to be hurt the next day, not just emotionally, but physically. And he almost hated himself to not enough to not say the safe word. He thought he needed to be punished. He thought he needed to hurt himself because that's who he thought he was. And he left that club later that day with a fracture just below his right eye. Because he didn't say that safe word when he should have, and that person just kept pushing. And he had told them up front, until I say the word, do not stop. And it just got worse and worse, and it sent Jackie spiraling a little bit about his self-worth of who he is.
All about who you are. Those deep parts of yourself. Ones that you hide in the shadow and ones you walk with pride. Out in the daylight. Out in the amongst everybody else. Which deck now?
Nah, go to steampunk. Go to steampunk. Go to steampunk.
Give us a happy card. Give us a
No,
happy card, Pieratt.
do not do it.
Go to steampunk.
Necro.
There's a whole war going on right now. I see one necro. I see one steampunk. Listen, I'm going in. Y'all ain't gonna do this to me today.
It's not gonna
Deny
get better, I
Matt.
don't
Deny
think.
him. The fucking
I
Matt
can see
goes.
his face. I see Barry's face.
We went to the steampunk.
Oh God, Cat went necro. Jesus, we're gonna be ruined. Okay, it's a steampunk for me, dog.
But you know that knowing to be your true selves also comes with all the slings, all the beating that comes with the world that struggles to accept, that it struggles to make you fit in. All of it launching at you in all its various forms. What was the moment that you felt like you had the strength? Because this is the song, The War of the Rods. What gave you the strength in comparison to the moment of, those dark secrets that are within you?
Wow.
I hate everyone.
I don't think Jacob has the strength. The song actually probably fills him with a degree of sadness, insecurity, again, guilt, maybe even shame. There is those two roads. There's that other life. There's maybe what he always wanted to be. There's an estranged sister from a previous marriage who is living their best life. Probably out. I imagine we're actually closer to the Midwest, but probably out in San Francisco, out in the West Coast, where it feels more free to be yourself. And he just wants to be out there and be like her and just be free and be who he wants to be. And he hasn't found that strength. So I think this song just feels like getting hit by the rod.
And as you feel that hit and that blow of that denial to self, you notice it's one of those little drone firefly seems to hover above you, and you just feel that denial just leaving your soul and being collected into this drone. You guys watch as this drone is just sort of hovering over them. The mist is just swirling around them from their motors, almost like a small tornado that is seemed to be enveloping Jacob before a moment later pulling away. And as you watch, there almost seems like a momentary face in that tornado swirling up towards the drone.
Nope.
And you can see it in others as others of these little drones are dropping around various people in the crowd and panning away and over towards one of those torches. What about for you, Jacob? Sorry, Jackie. The J's.
So many J's. It's all the J's, honey.
What is the rod, the war of the rod that's hitting you?
It brings me back to that same day when I introduced Chase to my parents, because my father realized in that moment all of the bruises and the marks that I was coming home with weren't just me going to bar fights and being the good old boy that he wanted me to be. He put two and two together, and it became this faction of do I go with Chase and leave my family, or do I leave my partner to try to find a connection with a parent? And I chose Chase because he was there to help me through that entire situation. The war was, I was the prize of the war. And it was the two of them just screaming in the living room, fighting about who I'm supposed to be. That it's bringing all of that back to the front in this almost painful memory, but also a feeling of liberation in that walking away from that, I knew I was free.
And in that freedom, another of those little drones hovers over you for a moment and then passes on. And what about for Johnson?
I think the War of the Rod takes me directly outside of a conference room, an opulent conference room, probably in New York City. That's on the 23rd, 24th floor. There are executives and there are attorneys and there are political reps and there are politicians all arguing behind a set of closed doors. I'm sitting there in a well-tailored suit, a suit that I had commissioned specifically for this moment. And I'm sitting in one of those, lounging actually, in one of those oversized chairs with one leg crossed over the other, and I'm spinning one of those beaded bracelets in my wrist. And the beads are just the repeating colors of the rainbow. And I am idly listening to this bomb that is going off in this conference room, a bomb that I very intentionally set off. They came for me because of my race. They came for me because who I chose to love, and they thought they could defeat me. So I unleashed hell. And I'm just sitting on an outside of a room that I wasn't invited to, watching the careers of dozens of individuals that would have seen me harm collapse in real time. So I think in this moment with the War of the Rod is a sense of victory and just that sadistic sense of satisfaction.
The drone dances around you, but there isn't that same swirling mass that was around Jacob. This one seems to dance in almost an excitation and enjoyment before streaking off across the arena to hover above Ghostface.
Oh, shit.
Now we say to the world, all who have been listening, all who have been challenging, all who have stood against us and not learned to listen to love, we're done. it is time for now. And at which point, the drones scatter across the field. They scatter out and cluster around the 9 torches.
Oh,
The
God.
crowd of roars just lists as it is time for the torches of Na tonight. Jacob, you just now noticed something. That misty smell that has been on. There's a certain quality to it. Quality that you recognize. But it has just always been in the back of your brain. Quality that you spend every day around. What is that quality? That's quality to this smell.
There's a smell you get around gasoline that has aerated a little too long.
Oh.
Like it's not like the pooling of gasoline or a bucket of gasoline, but just gasoline that's been given the chance to evaporate a little. So it's easy to miss, especially with all these bodies, the mist, everything that's going on, all this stuff happening. But when it lingers, it's almost more pungent, but it's not quite as heavy. And Jacob maybe coming out of this kind of shame spiral they've been stuck in a little bit this is the torches of 9. This is what we've been waiting for. This is the big moment. Maybe there's a moment of a clarity, and it's like oh, I know that smell.
And as you do, that's when the moment. Because here's the thing, Johnson. That drone that was above you, for whatever reason, you kept track of it. It's still standing over Ghostface. And they reach up their hand as the beginning just crash of torches of Na hit. And he just sort of touches it. Your flame, your strength, your denial to not be crushed like a weed by those who think that they are better, proper, holy, is the spark. As each of those torches, those structural props around the stadium alight. And then they catch as you watch this sea of fire erupt across the entire stadium. You watch this wave, but you can't race because there's physics and you can't escape the spark of the flame as it's coming racing towards all 3 of you. As you hear the screams as people are now realizing they're aflame. Jackie, what is the thought that's going through your mind as this flame is racing towards you?
My first thought would be, how am I going to avoid this? I mean, knowing it's not physically possible. You said you can't outrun these flames, but for that split second, self-preservation would kick in, and maybe that half step back thinking, if I can turn and run and try to grab the others as I go, could I get away? Knowing that I can't. The futility of escape is not lost on Jackie, but he's still going to try, because at the very least you have to try.
Mm.
What is Johnson's thoughts as the flames consume and flow into him?
There's a clear moment of quiet clarity as the flames begin to pool and rush and run towards me. My fight or flight isn't what's activating right now. It's me going through my head. I looked at the final proposal for this concert. We didn't have drones. And there's no way that we would have had the financial window to incorporate drones into this performance. The drones don't belong here. And it's just one of those things, like, as my system is going through the shock of just the emotion and denying the realization of what's coming up, I almost feel the need to turn to one of my compatriots and just make them acknowledge, like, the drones weren't actually part of the performance. It's almost like I'm disassociating from this moment and trying to grasp onto the one piece of clarity I have. And it's just that piece of clarity is like, we didn't have drones. That wasn't in the final design plan. Almost as if, like, you're acknowledging that you left the stove on after the house was already burned down. But that's like the moment of shock. That's just the only place of comfort that I can find.
Jacob, the flames hit you. The flames engulf you. But for a moment, you feel that sharp pain as they're burning into your flesh, as the flames are entering your lungs and taking the air and scorching them. But there's a moment where the pain lifts and you find yourself dancing amongst the flames. What is that like?
Oh, God.
Perry, I want to take just a quick second.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are dancing around, I think, the same exact thought process, and it is brilliant. Sorry. So Jacob feels the flames hit his skin. He's wrestled the entire concert with this shame, this guilt, this pain of never being the person that I think he truly wants to be, never exploring the person they truly want to be, living in fear of being the person they truly want to be. And the fire hits them. And there is that immediate panic of pain. Of course, that's there, but maybe that feels deserved. Maybe there's some, I have been on fire this whole time.
Oof.
I have been burning from the inside out, and now the heat matches. And when the first layer of flesh starts to crisp and charcoal and starts to ash into the air as it starts going to the tissue below, I think you're right. I think there's a moment where we're not looking at Jacob, we're looking at Jacqueline.
Holy shit.
And I think knowing the finality of this moment, the heat matches the heat. Let's be who we are for the moment in which we can. And I think Jacqueline dances as the flames consume.
Jackie Johnson, you watch as you see this Jacqueline star, a flame, a creature of nothing but flame, emerges from the shell that is Jacob, that dances and rises above you. You feel for each of you, Jackie, the breaks and the pain and the bones, as you feel bones erupting from your flesh, spiked and shaped and becoming just a monster of bone and sinew. Johnson, pardon, yours just ripples and shifts as that fine designer clothing, which would have been normally burned away, becomes a skin of iron. As your face and hair just retract inward as flames just drop forward and out. And you can hear over the echo from this point on, Ghostface, which is now just this towering form of eldritch horror. You have defied my children, and now, with our pride, we burn your world. And that, folks, is where we will end this symphony for tonight.
Phenomenal.
Holy shit.
What?
Holy shit.
That was great.
Woo. Perry called
have
it.
no words, Perry.
Perry called
Thank
it.
you.
I'm only going to echo it. And that, Friends of the Symphony, is where our show ends for tonight. Thank you to everyone who joined in or is currently watching the replay. You guys are indeed the best part of waking up. We sincerely appreciate you. Holy shit, Perry. Whew. If you enjoyed this content, please consider backing us on Patreon at patreon.com/Symphony Entertainment. We have a month of Pride Sonatas coming at you hot. We also have the beginning of season 1 of Sanguine Arch, our Vampire the Masquerade campaign that begins on June 3rd. So lots of content coming down the pipeline for June, guys. Perry, thank you for launching this out. Matt, welcome to the Symphony. You are welcome back anytime. Doc, this is what we do. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. We hope you enjoyed the Symphony, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a wonderful night, guys. Mwah. Bye. Or boot your face.